You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iron Lady Singers that makes official. Welcome to the big show. For over 16 years and 2,400 episodes, we've been the Chris Voss Show, bringing you all the most amazing authors, the brilliant minds, the CEOs, the billionaires, White House presidential advisors, the Pulitzer Prize winners, all of the people who bring their stories, their journeys of life, their lessons, and they help you lead a better life. Of course, you have to listen to the whole show. There's kind of a catch there. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places in it. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book success. Today, an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about, she's a multi-book author, that is, and we're going to be talking about her books and some of her insights and everything else. We'll be leading off with one of her books called Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Chris Kline, out December 19th, 2018. And then we're going to get some other works as well. She is a, let's see here. She is has spent 20 years as a missionary in the South Pacific, then as a pulpit speaker in hundreds of churches and at many rallies. And welcome to the show. How are you, Chris?
I'm fine. I've been looking forward to this.
We've been looking forward to having you as well. Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs to get to know you better?
www.author Chris Kline, ChrisKline.
So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside this book?
This is a book that I redid. I wrote it originally when I lived in Australia, 1990, and it went to #1 there. It was a story of my life. And so I decided to redo it a few years ago. And it came out right when COVID did, so it didn't really do too much. But the story behind it is what led me into the supernatural. And that is what the second book we're going to talk about is about, this walking into supernatural. But if you can look back at things that are flukes or coincidences, I got invited to get on the Rolling Stones plane and go on their tour for a few cities. We ended up in New York, and I decided I liked it and I was going to stay there. And so I did. And one night when I came into my hotel room, I heard a voice outside of me calling me from the ceiling above me, but behind me. And I turned and I looked, and the voice said, "I am God, and I have a message for you." Now, I had no religious upbringing, and I didn't know this wasn't God.
No.
So I sat on the bed, and a brilliant white light, like you would have in a studio, bright white light, filled me, and I could feel it entering me, and I could see it through my eyes. And then I looked around the room, and my eyes were going where I wasn't telling them to go. And the upshot of it all was that for 9 years I channeled and thinking it was God, but it wasn't God. And I ended up, to quit smoking, I joined a missionary group. I didn't know what a Christian was or a missionary. But they took me, and years later, when I was in New Zealand, the Stones were coming to play there. And my friend and I had stayed in touch all those years. And so he gave me a ticket to get into the little nightclub. And this is the point I want to make. Mick Jagger is actually, I don't know what he looks like now, but years ago, I saw him many times, was in many of his homes. He's actually was attractive. He was soft. His eyes were soft. He was very personable. And I could go on and on. Point being, when he was on the stage, when he would pick up the microphone, this countenance would come over him that was very ugly. And I believe that was where he played with the spirits. And when he was singing, that's the picture everybody always got, was him looking so mean and so demonic. But after that, I came back to the States and continued speaking in pulpits for another 12 years. And finally at 50, met my husband, my first husband. Yeah. So the Lord was good. And then 2 years ago, I decided to write this book called Soul Wars. And the point of the book was I have 4 families that are living in a small Midwestern town. And the demonic realm is inciting them to do things that are bad, that are wrong, that are hurtful. And the angels, if someone prays, shoots a bolt of lightning and disintegrates the demonic spirit that's trying to cause the problem. For example, I had one woman who was very materialistic and very uncaring towards her child. And she decided she was going to burn down her husband's tire shop for the insurance money.
Oh, wow.
And the spirits were whispering all this to her to do. And she got caught in the fire and died.
Oh, wow.
So
didn't work out for her, did it?
No, it didn't. Now, a good scene was when the teenage boy, Josh, was drafted to Vietnam. And this, I go back, I started in the 50s with this. It's 3 generations. And he wants to be a helicopter pilot, but that's not the Lord's desire for him, more or less his mother. And his paper is sitting on top of the desk of the lieutenant, and an angel comes into our atmosphere just for a split second and turns, and its wings blow the paper into the trash can. So Josh never became a pilot, but he ended up doing other things that were amazing.
Oh, wow. So now you've, how many books have you written? I think I see at least a couple, 2 or 3 on Amazon.
I think it's 5. The publishers have died. I ended up self-publishing these last 2, and I'm working on another one now.
So now the 2 books we've referenced, one is Soul Wars, an adventure into the supernatural, out February 9th, 2022. And then Shake, Rattle, and Roll. You mentioned these 2 are intertwined. How did what is the entwinement that they have?
Because when I went to that missionary place, after 9 years of channeling, they told me that I had a spirit and that it needed to be cast out. And
bad spirit then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a bad spirit pretending to be God. And when they prayed for me, I began to growl, and I could feel this thing leaving me, and I could hear it growling out of me. And what that did was it started me off on a road in these pulpits, casting demons out of other people.
Oh, wow.
So demons was part of my life, casting them out. And so to write Soul Wars, I just put demon activity around a normal family to show how a raised up good girl can go bad, how a boy ends up on drugs. One of the girls, she was being teased and was given a piece of acid on paper and they put strychnine on it. And she went down to the lake and was going to take it. And an angel again appeared right into our system and turned, and her wing blew the acid paper off her hand, and it went way out into the lake. So I try to show how angels come in and interfere what the demons have done and the bad things that they cause if somebody's praying.
So how do you pick your characters in the books that you write?
Well, for Soul Wars, I just cut out some pictures of people in magazines.
Oh, really?
And I was living in Australia. I didn't realize I was picking out important people. They just were faces in a magazine. So I cut out a little boy and, the parents and the grandparents. And then that way I could look at the pictures and I knew who I was talking about.
So it helped you, seeing the face, you could paint the character and develop that. And that's a really unique way. I don't know that we've ever had an author say that they do that, but that's brilliant because, you're mapping out and you're seeing that face. And I often ask people who come on the show, authors, if, what character or what people maybe in their lives they use for reference or reference points. Sometimes they do, use a mix of, the sample a little bit here from this person they know they're friends with or that relative or whatever. And so it's interesting to me. And then we have other guests where, the characters just kind of come to them almost in a dreamlike state or in a visual state, and they're having conversations, talking to them. I have that, but it's just my multiple personalities. But that's interesting you do that, but that makes sense. I had another person that came on the show that there was someone who'd gone to prison and been inspired by her books, and it helped get her on a path to want to get out of prison and reform her life. And so the author keeps the photo of that young lady in her prison jumpsuit right at her computer when she writes, so she knows exactly who she's writing to. So I love that idea. That's brilliant.
Yeah, when I came back to the States, I found out that some of them were important people, and but I put them in the front of the book anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's why you changed the names, right? So that what's that thing they say in the movie? The names have been changed. So.
Oh, to protect the innocent. To
protect the innocent. Yeah, that's something like that. So what, let's see, what other question I have for you here. Now what sort of spirits were involved in the families? You may have kind of explained that, but I wanted to clarify that a little bit. So I think there's how many families are in the book, and what are these
4 families?
Okay.
With young children, and through the book they grow up and they go into things that teenagers do and all of that. I guess I could say that they're just normal people. And what I did was I started with the grandmother of one family, and she was obsessed with good luck charms and good luck. There is no God, and just you get luck. And when people say they're lucky, I don't know who they think is making them lucky. I always wonder that. But so having these entities around her house that she prayed to for good luck, she opened herself up to a spirit of witchcraft.
Oh.
And then when she died, that witchcraft spirit came on into her daughter.
Wow.
And the daughter began chanting to her mother and talking to her dead mother. And so the witchcraft stayed in that family line. And then with her daughter, she got into the drugs, which also brings in the witchcraft.
Are you sure that's just not called teenagedom? I'm just kidding. I'm doing the teenage joke.
It's generational curses are really real. And
tell me about that, because you write about that in the book, and in the being passed down through family lineage. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, the Lord said in the Bible that he would destroy those to the fourth generation that hate him, and those that love him, he will bless forever. So you can be in a family lineage that's blessed, even if you're not so together. You're going to come out all right in the end.
Ah, that's convenient.
Yeah, that's convenient.
Yeah.
But I don't know where to take this.
So as we go through that, where the main crux of the story is for families and their generational trauma, and are they trying to deal with it? Are they aware that they're under these things, or do you just tell the story of how those demons shape that family and the unfortunate incidents?
No, there is one Christian family. It's an African American family, and they are Christians. And they're the ones that start the ball rolling in that small town, praying for people and diverting problems, diverting terror, diverting the spirits that are going to be working on the families. And as they pray, an angel will come, and whoever they're praying for, that angel will now shoot a bolt of lightning that disintegrates that demon.
Oh,
and it can't work. Prayer stops the demons from working.
Well, that's one way of doing it. I prefer to take him out to dinner and say, hey, look, man, this isn't working out. We got to break up. That's what I do with my demons. I don't know. We do the jokes on the show. We have some fun. Now, you talk about telling if someone has a spirit. Don't we all have spirits and souls, or at least that's the theory?
Yes, you have a spirit, which is in you when you're born, and you have a soul, which is in you when you're born, and you have a body.
I sold that for $5 years ago.
The word born again, which has been made fun of so much, is actually a scriptural word when God puts his spirit in your spirit. And now he works through you and protects you. And that's where that term came from.
So now, do certain people have bad spirits? Is there a way to know if you have a bad spirit in you? Like one time I had some bad vodka and it didn't go well.
Yeah, that probably had a spirit behind it. That's why they call it spirits.
There you go.
Once I got out on the road teaching, I remember at a university, I was teaching a psychology class. And I was supposed to teach on demons, and they said, we don't believe them. Take a Zirac or something, take a pill. And one of the boys, an Indian man, started to manifest. He began growling right there in his seat. All the kids in the class turned around. My husband ran up front to see what was happening, because he's Catholic. He didn't believe in any of that. And this spirit began to speak to me through the man, saying that he would not leave him. And I conversed with him that he had to leave in the name of Jesus. He had to go. And he kept growling. And this went on for a couple of minutes, where now the whole class was freaked out.
Wow.
But it left, and his whole countenance changed, and he was new, and he went on back to India and started a ministry to the poor.
Wow. Well, it sounds like he was good at helping people and all that good stuff, and get that going on. So how do angels or good spirits help people? How does that work? Do if I need to move, do I call them and they'll come help with the move or something, or how does that work?
Well, an angel is there to keep you safe from the demonic world. The earth, the God of this world is Satan, and he is bound to ruin the life of anyone he can.
Oh, what a jerk.
The angels are there to stop him from ruining you, having, a huge fight where you might take a bottle and hit your wife over the head with it.
Ah.
They're there to protect the other unknowing people of what's going on. And then you can usually, I didn't know I had a spirit. I knew I had something in me because I was writing verses I'd never read in the Bible, and I could predict the future, and things happened that I knew I was just a party girl.
Mm-hmm. You were a party girl? That was your life?
I was a party girl.
Oh,
yeah. That's how I ended up. That's how I ended up on the Rolling Stones plane.
Well, you had your fun, and then at 50, you said in your 50s, you found your husband. So,
yeah.
Why are demons so set on destroying people's lives? Like, what's the deal there? Like, who hurt them?
Satan wanted to be like God. He was an angel. He was the highest angel. And it's actually what we all do. We all try to run our own life. We all want to be our own gods and make our own decisions. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil that Eve was not to eat from was because God didn't want her making her own decision of what's right and what's wrong. There was a right and there's a truth. There's a wrong. And so I guess, where were we?
We're talking about right and wrong.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There is a certain right. And why demons are bad?
Because a third of the demons came with Satan when he was thrown to earth. And earth was given to mankind to replenish and to multiply. And when those third demons came, and we don't know how many trillions there are, when they came, their whole outlook was, I'm going to ruin this and spoil it for God. God wants fellowship with his children, and I'm going to make sure they don't get it.
So they're the real enemy there. In your book, you talk about this with soul wars and some of this different stuff that we're fleshing out here. In your mind, what motivates these evil spirits to manifest, and how does that angel jump in and protect you when the demon's trying to work through you?
Well, this was my own conjecture that if somebody had prayed and a demon was working in someone's life, an angel now had permission to intervene and stop whatever evil was about to happen. And of course, Christians each have their own angel, so they're always on guard for us to keep us safe.
Do people who aren't Christians have angels have demons on guard? Maybe they do. Do they have angels on guard?
No.
Damn it. They
have angels. In God's plan, God is trying to draw all man unto him. So they work in that way, not only necessarily when prayer has been done, but when God is saying, let's move him over here where he's closer to finding me. In fact, when I was sleeping on the beach in Hawaii in 1983, I had nowhere to live. I had no money. I had a dog and a cat staying at an army base, and I still thought I knew God, and everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I met a guy, and he took me to church, and I didn't see why I needed to be a Christian. And a verse came out of the pastor's mouth. It said, your time for drunkenness and playing and partying is over. And it just hit me like a brick. And so he took me down to this place called Youth with a Mission. And they take students from all over. They're all over the world. They're in 200 some countries. And they teach you how to know God, how to feel God, how to move in God, and how to cast demons out of people. And then you go to a country where you do all that. Yeah.
So you've incorporated all this sort of life journey that you've had into your books and your stories and everything else, so that people can kind of they can enrich them and all that sort of good stuff. You talk about general sin. Was this guy in the Civil War, or get it, general sin? See what I did there? What's a general sin according to some of the stuff you talk about in your books?
General sin would be, well, we all know it's a commandment, do not lie.
Oh.
So general sin is just the ones that we all know about.
Okay. So like the 10 Commandments, maybe, like, don't steal, don't order from Five Guys burgers or something. I don't know.
They still got In-N-Out.
Yeah, don't order from In-N-Out. No, you actually do. You should order from In-N-Out. It's tasty food. But who's somebody I can pick on? Just don't go to McDonald's. It's bad for you. Probably get sued by McDonald's now. It's not the most healthiest food. Let's put it that way, folks. So what do you hope people learn from your books? What do you hope they gather as they read through them and the stories that you weave?
I think in their own memory, they will remember times when they got spared, where they could have been hit by a car, or they could have been in a car wreck, or something happened that protected them, whether they were a Christian or not. They can remember these times where something they may say coincidental, they may say spiritual, but somebody stepped into their realm and protected them.
Mm-hmm. And so is there anything in the future coming with any new books you're working on, stories you're weaving, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I wrote one 20 years ago that I stopped at the 9th chapter, and I pulled it back out again. Soul Wars was 30 years doing.
Wow.
And this new book, I'm using the Beacon score, which they now call FICO score.
Oh, the FICO score. Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be called Beacon. And I'm showing how we have a beacon score in us, that when we get sad, something happens, our beacon score goes up and down. If God doesn't answer a prayer, our beacon score goes down.
Oh.
If something good happens and it was a gift from God, your beacon score goes up. And you learn your value to God through the book.
Well, that's an interesting way of telling a story. When did you first start writing? When did you know that you had a knack for this, and you started toying with the art of writing?
I had spent a year in Tonga with a girls' drama team, and everybody got words to leave but me. The Lord was very specific. I was to stay there. And after a few weeks, I thought, well, what am I doing here? And I was friends with the royal family, and so I would do things with their granddaughter and try and keep her on the right track. But I really heard God say, write your story. And so I did it in longhand. I didn't know how to type. I got a friend to type it.
Oh, there you go.
And when I left Tonga, I went to New Zealand, and I was supposed to speak at a rally, but I had to leave the country for 3 months because of visas.
Oh, yeah.
While I was gone, I had a whole city turned upside down. I kid you not. They gave me the top of a hotel, the whole floor, to cast demons out of people that would come. They were lined around the block every day to have demons cast out. And so while I was there, I finished up my 3 months. I went back to New Zealand. They told me that they had picked someone else to do the rally.
Uh-oh.
And I thought, well, there's no point in begging God to do it. They've already made their decision. And so I opened my Bible and I looked down and it said, your eyes shall certainly see this come to pass.
Wow.
So I thought, well, there's 4 days to go. I'm either going to do it, I've got a word, I'm going to do it. And they called and said, yes, we do want you to speak at this rally. And there are about 10,000 people there. They went dead silent when I started talking. And the upshot of it was 2 publishers heard me. And they both wanted me to write my story. And now I had already written it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I mean, it's, you talk about your books being works of fiction, but there's some truth or some stories or some interplay of maybe characters that are in real life. Tell us about that and how you broach that in your books. Well,
Soul Wars is the only fiction novel. That's the only one where I made up everybody.
Oh, okay.
All the other books, my other book, God Speaks to the Weary Heart, was while I went through, the devil was all over me and everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I had a horrible year. And I wrote that book, which got stuck in 3 computers. And yeah, it was not fun. But that book now is out of print. The publisher's died. The company's gone. So I don't know what will ever happen to that one. That was that was about 30 years ago, that book. It's still on Amazon. They're all on Amazon, or they can get them through my website, the click to Amazon.
Let's talk about your website. What can people find there? Do you do any consulting or advice or anything like that? Or is that just a place where people can go to the website to see what you're up to and what things are going on?
Yeah, they could see a picture of the Stones playing.
The Rolling Stones. What a great story. Now, what era was this that you were hanging out with the Stones?
That was 73. I had just turned 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the gentleman took care of Mick Jagger for 40 years. He was his manager.
Really?
And he and I stayed in touch until just a few years ago when he got married. And his wife told him he couldn't write me anymore. But we would write things back and forth on email, little hellos. And, I had a dream about you, so I prayed for you. And things like that. But it's all been silenced.
What album were they touring with to
That
promote?
Was Goat's Head. Well, I went to Jamaica with them for Goat's Head Soup. And the tour, when I was on the plane, was, I don't remember.
Yeah. It looks like it was Goat's Head Soup in that era.
Goat's Head Soup was after that, was right after that. And the one that I was on was, I just don't remember. I never even owned a Stones record. But it was.
But you're on tour with them.
It was kind of fun smoking a joint on that plane taking off. But
back in the day, that was kind of their heyday, wasn't it? I believe. Yeah. Kind of. I mean, they've had their whole career is kind of their heydays, but Goat's Head Soup, I think, I'm trying to recall what song.
Pretty demonic.
Yeah. Do you think that had an influence maybe in
I think
you writing some of the stories? There is a goat's head in a soup in the remastered version. Cover
in fact, my friend asked me to go out and take a picture of a goat. We were in Jamaica. And they had a studio there. Yeah. And Mick had a house there, and so they were taping that album then. The album they were doing with Stevie Wonder on that tour I was on, Wild Horses was one of the songs that I can remember now.
Oh, yeah. Some of the songs off of Goat's Head Soup, Dancing with Mr. D, which I think is the devil, isn't it?
See, yeah, and I never even listened to it. Now, they took pictures of me on the plane with a guy ripping my shirt off. And they have it now on their latest album where they cut that part out. And so I figure if they're going to be, and they had used it on other albums, I thought if they're going to use me, being stripped, then I'm going to use Mick to show that demons do act in people. That he definitely has one when he's singing.
So how come it only comes out when he's singing and doesn't come out? I don't know. Does it come out the rest of the time? I don't know.
Probably does in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
With all the women he's had, I imagine he's got a spirit of lust.
That spirit of lust. Yeah.
Devil.
I've seen that movie. I've seen that. I've seen the devils that come from the spirit of lust. This was my first 10 marriages. It's a callback joke we use on the show. I change the number every time, so it makes people confused at how many divorces I really have, which is 0. So that's the joke. Anything further we need to share out or tease out to people about what you guys are doing? Any future books? Anything more we haven't touched on that you want to share?
I would like them to go to the website or go to Amazon and get either book or get both of them. They're good reading. They're going to teach you stuff you never knew. And then you can decide what you want to do with God.
So it's up to you. You can make the choices that you want to make and all that good stuff. So as we go out, give people your .coms. Where can people find out more about you on the interwebs?
It's www.author Chris, Chris, Kline, Kline.com.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And people can check out your books. There's Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Chris Kline out. And you can find it on Amazon, and Soul Wars, an adventure into the supernatural. Thanks, Chris, for coming on the show.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have us out, Chris.